As we open our mind and open our heart, that is the essence of our being, we open to the infinite. We acknowledge ultimate reality, God, however we conceive of that essence. And we acknowledge that we are a unit, a ray of the pure essence of ultimate reality, inseparable, whole, perfect already. Feel the truth of this. And we honor the saints and the sages of all the authentic enlightenment traditions, and we honor the divinity of every person, everyone. And for a few moments now, we turn our attention deeply within. Let go of the thoughts and the cares and concerns and memories and expectations, and just be present in this moment, right here, right now. There's no need to be thinking, we can simply be. And it can be useful to focus the attention in the forehead or the upper part of the head and to be feeling our breath. Just flow with the breath, notice the breath coming and going of its own accord, rising and falling. As our attention continues to flow inward, and we let go, and we let go, and finally we rest in being, pure consciousness, existence, being. This is our nature. And the thoughts that bubble up become distractions, so we let them go, disregard them, just notice the breath, and rest in being. Here we are one with our essence, and our essence is God in expression. Inseparable, perfect, whole already. And as the mind comes quiet, we feel the presence. And of course, it's always present. We live and move and have our being in this expressive reality in God. But we must become very quiet to experience it directly. after resting for a time in thought-free awareness, before concluding our meditation, it's always useful to take a moment to acknowledge that our consciousness is a ray, a viewpoint, an aspect of one consciousness of God. So we are deeply and intimately interconnected with all beings everywhere. And so we can radiate goodwill. We can send our own personal blessing out to everyone. 7.5 billion brothers and sisters on the planet, everyone. We bless them, we love them, we send them our good wishes. You see, each and every person has a bright, shining, life-giving spirit. Birthless, deathless, immortal, identical to ourselves. And we see them prosperous, healthy, radiantly joyful, and awake to the truth of their own nature, awake in God. So we love them, we bless them, and we wish them well. And finally, we feel good about ourselves. We feel ourselves to be on friendly terms with this nurturing, supportive universe. We feel comfortable in nature, knowing that we have the full support of emerging events and circumstances, of God's grace that is unexpected good in all of our life-enhancing endeavors. And we are grateful for all of our many, many blessings. And join me and we'll chant Om one time as we conclude. Peace. Amen. What did we like? So good morning.
Good morning.
Another beautiful morning. I had this amazing drive across the mountains, and the moon was watching the whole time, making sure I was safe and taken care of. So we're blessed to have another beautiful day. I think we're blessed to have every day. I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is say thank you. I have another day. What a blessing. Another day and an opportunity to serve and to share and to continue with this adventure of a lifetime. Wow. So that's a great way to start the day. That's what I do. So our theme this morning, we're talking about what's our purpose? What are we here for? And most people, normal people, not nobody here, but normal people, their attention is blurred, fragmented. The mind jumps around. The Sufis say it's like a drunken monkey. It goes from one thing to the next. It gets distracted easily. No focus. So we find ourselves just jumping around, and without focus, it's very difficult to actually accomplish purposes, to move ahead and to experience, to really come into this awareness of what we are, our true nature. I didn't say who we are, I said what we are. So our nature is spiritual. We are spiritual beings, and individuals from thousands of years, 4,000 years ago, really wise individuals figured out that we do have a purpose. There is a main purpose for each one of us to be in expression, to live. There's actually 4 purposes. The first one we can say harmony, the second we can say prosperity, the third we could say comfort, and the fourth we could say freedom. So these are sort of modern terms. Back in the ancient days, they said dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. So these are Sanskrit words that mean sort of what I just said. So what is that about? The first one, harmony or dharma. This is living in harmony with life, with this expressive reality. There is an evolutionary process that is intelligent, that is happening, and we're part of it. And if we cooperate with it, if we go the same direction that life is flowing, then it's easy. Then we feel good, we're fulfilled, we're prospered, we are making a useful contribution to this continuing evolutionary process. Everything just works. So this is moving in harmony, understanding, feeling what is happening as life, and then moving in harmony with it. Now, in order to move in harmony with it, it's important for us to understand it. What is this life that we're supposed to be in harmony with, that we're supposed to cooperate with? So, we have a term that we use for this organizing, intelligent, expressive process. We call it God. And of course, God is a word. And it's a word that only goes back, 500 or 600 years. It comes from Old German. And before the Old High German, Gott, before we had that word, there wasn't God. If you look in the Bible, in the ancient Bible, they never said God. They had other words. And these words are simply symbols that point to something. All words are. So words are only the symbol, they're only the pointer. They indicate some reality, right? So this word God, it's very easy for us to sort of just fluff over and go, oh yeah, God. But what is God? Do we have a feeling, an experience, a relationship? What is this word? What is this word pointing to? And so it's useful for us to come into this awareness, this understanding. There is ultimate reality. Ultimate reality is formless. It never began. It never ends. It has no characteristics. We can't even talk about it because there's nothing to talk about. It is beyond our ability to conceive, to think, to have a picture, to have a symbol. It is. Existence, being. So this is just this ultimate reality. And within this ultimate reality, there is an expressive aspect. There is a part of this ultimate reality that moves into expression. And it expresses, it is in this expression, it is self-ordering. It knows how to make itself out of itself. And it also has an innate intelligence. So there is an intelligence that is guiding this unfolding evolutionary process that is built into it. And it's built into it in the same way that a rose bush has an innate intelligence. It knows how to grow itself into roses, and it has this expressive process. So the intelligence and the order and the ability to express is built into it, and there's nobody in charge. There's nobody in charge. It is the whole system. The system is self-expressive, and it is self-intelligent and self-ordering. Okay? This is what we call God. God is everywhere. We are it. It is expressing as each one of us. We are blossoms. We are like roses on the bush we call God. And so are all the trees and the planets and the universe and everything. There is no separation. There's nothing outside. We affirm this, but do we know it? See, we think about it. Do we use our focused attention to actually come into some experience of this? Or do we just sort of, oh yeah, that's another one of those, and we move on and continue to be distracted and blurred and fragmented, and as a result, not feeling connected, we worry, we're anxious, we're fearful, because there might be something outside, but we just said there's only one thing. It's expressing It's coming out of itself. It's self-ordered and it's self-intelligent. It knows what it's doing. It is evolving in a positive way, and we're it. So what's there to be afraid of? What's there to be worried about? We're it. You know? You have this prayer for protection. From what? The power of God protects me. From what? You know, think about these things. Come on. So we are part of this expressive reality. And so the first of our purposes for being here is to cooperate with it, is to be a beautiful blossom in the God bush. Right? And so if we're expressing ourselves, if we're being true to ourselves, then we're going to feel good, we're going to be prosperous, and we're going to be naturally led to our right place, to doing the thing that's right for us. What's right for us is not right for our neighbor. There's 7.5 billion people on the planet, 7.5 billion job slots right now, and you got one of them, so that's a blessing, you know, part of the team. And if we line up all 7.5 billion people, they all look different. We can tell the difference between every single one. That's amazing, you know. Nature doesn't repeat itself. Just like if you went out and looked at one of these trees out here, and you look at the leaves on the tree, I defy you to find two leaves that are exactly the same. They sort of, from a distance, we look and go, oh yeah, there's one, you know, those are oak leaves. But you take an oak leaf and another oak leaf, they're not exactly the same. They don't have the same veins. There are not two of anything. It's constantly, this expressive universe is compulsively creative. It's never satisfied and it never duplicates itself. It uses similar patterns, but never identically the same. And so for this reason, you know, I was born in 1947, which is a kind of a classic year. It was one of those, you know, the wine was good and the vehicles were pretty cool. And in 1947, everybody that was born in 1947 did not decide to be truck drivers. There was just enough truck drivers and just enough people who wanted to grow food and just enough people who were engineers creating things. Just enough of everybody that it takes to keep the system working on a global level, right? It just works. There's an intelligence that orders this process and we're part of it. And so the first purpose that we have is to learn to come into harmony with the big picture and with ourselves. To express according to our personality, our needs, our nature, and to live in harmony with that, to be what and who we are. That's important. So that's number one. Number two is what we'll call prosperity. It's really right action. It's doing a service. It's providing our service, our job, our interaction in the community, our relationship, our family, creating and living in harmony with our personality type, with our predispositions, but becoming prosperous. That is, having respect, providing a useful service, being impeccable about what we do, paying attention. And if we're living and doing something that is aligned with our personality and our type, we're going to feel good. We'll be fulfilled. We'll be happy, and we'll have sufficient resources to do what we need to do. You know, everybody doesn't have to be, you know, a multi-billionaire. All we need is enough to be taking care of ourselves, you know, to have our personal needs met, and our needs are not the same. And so if we have our needs met, and if we're doing something that is fulfilling, then we feel good, and this is part of this prosperity, part of artha. And the third thing, the third aspect, or third element, is what I call comfort. Kama actually means pleasure, and it means to have our desires, our life-enhancing desires, things that are, you know, useful for us, easily fulfilled. We should have, when we have desires, this is okay, And the desires that we have that are useful, we should have those easily fulfilled. They should just come. And they do. As a matter of fact, the way this self-organizing, self-intelligent universe, the way God is expressing, is through each one of itself. That's us. So whatever pattern we hold, whatever blueprint we hold in our mind and consciousness, the infinite power of the universe moves through into expression. There's no other way. This is just how it works. We say it's a law of mind. It's a law because it just works. Whether we like it or not, whether we understand it or not, whether we believe it or not, doesn't matter. Just like gravity, gravity doesn't care whether you believe in it. If you step off the roof, you're going to fall to the ground. Right? In the same way, if you hold a pattern in your mind, it will express. So we call this creative imagination. But this is more than just creative imagination. This is the way things work. And the way the pattern works is we have a picture, an image, and along with the image, the picture, we have a feeling, a sensation. So if we have a picture and a feeling, we have created a pattern, a blueprint, through which this infinite power of the universe will express. And so, if it's something positive, like, well, we need a new car, it's time to replace the automobile, and so we can picture ourselves in the ideal vehicle for ourselves, a big giant Humvee that's, takes 2 lanes to drive down the road, and you can look down on the world, and anything runs into you, it's their problem. You're immortal. And we can imagine what it's like to feel like to drive that thing down the road and try to find a parking place. Yeah. So we have the picture and the feeling, and unless we do something to interfere with that, to erase the picture or modify it, we're going to end up with the Humvee. It works perfectly, impeccably. But if we have a picture that says the planet's falling apart, the environment is literally going to hell in a handbasket, the planet is in trouble, the economy, what's going to happen, my investments, I have to worry every day, I have to check the stock market or my bank account, and if this person does this or that person does that, everything's... And so I'm worried and anxious, and so I have a picture of my future that has this fear and this anxiety and the feeling that goes along with it, and guess what? The universe doesn't care. It says, okay, if that's how you want it, if that's the adventure you want to have, fine, bring it on. And so we are constantly expressing, constantly manifesting whatever it is that we can picture and imagine, what we believe. We keep getting what we believe because that's what we're looking for. And the scientific explanation of this, they call it expectation bias. Expectation bias says that if there's something that we see that resonates with what we already believe, then we go, yeah, and it's a confirmation. And if we see something that doesn't resonate with what we already believe, that goes across purposes, then we disregard it. We either don't see it or we have an excuse or a reason that it's not real. Okay? If you pay any attention to what's happening in the political arena these days, it doesn't matter which side of the fence you're on, both sides have this expectation bias and they don't listen to the other side. And they're so concerned with fear, they're so concerned with what's going to happen to me, can I get reelected? Again, it doesn't matter whether you're on which side you're on. The concern is not to serve the people, it's to preserve their position. So they're not paying attention, they're not listening. I think everybody should have to go sit and watch Mr. Smith Goes to Washington 100 times until I finally get to Jimmy Stewart behind me. But we're not, this is not political, it's just a matter of saying what we picture, what we imagine, and what we feel, This is going to create our reality. And we know this is true. I'm not making this up. We know this is true because we can look back at our own past and see where we created the pattern that we are experiencing as our life right now. What we are experiencing as our life right now is the result of the choices, of the pictures, of the imagining, of the feeling that we have had in the past. This is an effect, that was a cause. Today we are acting and we are creating new causes that will produce effects in our future. If we're being mindful, if we're choosing wisely, then we are creating causes today that will produce an effect, that will produce a future that we really want. We can do that. And the fourth piece is freedom, moksha, liberation. And this is freedom. This means that we are free to be, to express, without fear, without anxiety, to be what we are. If we are really awake in God, that is, if we are really awake, tuned into and feeling ourselves to be part of the wholeness of this expressive reality, there is nothing to fear. There is nothing we need to do. There is nowhere we need to go. There is just being. Every day is an adventure. It's a beautiful dance. You know, when we dance, we don't dance to see how quickly we can get across the dance floor. We don't dance to prove anything. We dance to dance, you see. It's an experience. If we play music to play. You know, it's, you know, we're never in a hurry to see who can get to the end of the last bar in the piece first. It's not a race, it's an experience, moment by moment by moment. Each moment is a blessing. If we're paying attention, if we're in the experience. And so we can live in the same way that we play music or that we dance, and that is moment by moment appreciation, having the full experience, not having our mind be fragmented and be thinking in the past and the future, over here, over there, but in this moment, because this moment is where your life is. This moment is where you are experiencing. Everything else, it's a timeout. If we're sitting worrying, it's a timeout. We're missing that part of our life. You know, we're missing this moment, missing the experience, the joy, the wonder, the love, the beauty. You know, this is always available to us, all the time, wherever we are. If we just let go of all the upsets and all the cares and concerns, we can live in this awareness of being all the time. This is free. This is liberated. See, without restraint, without limitation. And we affirm these things, but we have to go past the affirmation and make it real. We have to own it. You know, this is important. And we can do that because we're it. Because we don't have to jump through any hoops. We don't have to prove anything. We don't have to, you know, get everything right so we make it to the next level. All we have to do is just be what we already are. Perfect, whole expressions of this one reality, expressions of God. We can do that. And when we do that, we're joyful, we're prosperous, we're content, happy, and we can provide a useful service. We can contribute to this expressive, unfolding, evolutionary process. We can contribute in a valuable way rather than worrying about what's in it for me because I have everything. All I have to ask is how can I contribute to keep this process moving in a positive way? And we can do that, right? So this is a time when people start to make plans for their New Year's resolutions. Don't wait till New Year's. Resolve today. Get started now. This is your life. You know, and everybody has a sell-by date. You can't see it because it's back here someplace, but you know, nobody gets out of this alive. So while we have the opportunity to be experiencing and to have this adventure, we should take advantage of it and don't waste our time out worrying and being anxious and spinning our wheels. Get focused and live the way you're designed to live. Amen.
Amen.
All right, that's enough. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.